Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Wednesday to you. We're taking another look at Bitcoin here. Big surprise. See what's going on, of course. And just to preface, there is an FOMC meeting today at, I believe, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just to review the minutes from last month, of course. So just keep in mind that could factor in here and that could sway things in a different direction. And we'll also take a quick look at dollar index, NASDAQ, and a few other things as well. So if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love teaching people to trade, hope you can learn something here today. I just love teaching people to become better traders, and I'm really truly passionate about it. Been trading for over 16 years, so my goal is to just make sure that you are on the right track, hopefully with anything you can learn here today. All right, I do have an in-depth trading academy as well as a signal group / community where we all learn and grow together, and I teach you how to trade more effectively in this environment with structuring the trades that I feel are appropriate for the current climate. You cannot always have the same exact structure for your trades, so we're trying some new strategies and they're working very well. That being said, if you'd like to check that out, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. Reference that in your own time. All right. So here's where we're at with Bitcoin. And just before we want to preface here, of course, I want to take a look at some other things here. So first of all, US dollar index is currently high. All right. As this goes up, it's very common for Bitcoin to want to go down. So oftentimes there are inverse pairings in a lot of ways. So something to pay attention to, of course. Another thing as well is that NASDAQ's kind of breaking even here today. And same with the S&P. So we got a nice, decent little rally yesterday and the day before, but today, so far, kind of drawing dead. And as you can see here, of course, we're not here to analyze this, but we are seeing lower highs and lower lows consistently on this chart, which implies that we could in fact, continuously see that as well on Bitcoin. Again, they're not directly correlated, but there is an influence, all right? So again, those are just little things to kind of be mindful of and aware of. Bitcoin dominance is pretty much right where we expect it to be right now. We're not seeing a lot of altcoins surging for the moment, so we're seeing kind of Bitcoin dominance effectively zero out or kind of average itself out to where it should be. So nothing out of the ordinary there. So let's go ahead and take a quick look here, of course, at the daily. First things first, we are still over 30 on the RSI, which is nice, but there is more room for the price to come down. We also have this type of divergence. If you were to look at the price action here, price is actually going down, whereas we have this coming up. So again, that's not necessarily a terrible thing, but it does kind of tell us that we could see more downside based on the fact that when the RSI gets closer to 50, anytime it has in the past, it rejects hard and comes down. So again, something to think about. Another thing, of course, just to reiterate, if you haven't caught any of my other videos, is that we have this 50-day simple moving average, of course, averaging itself down concurrently with this descending trend line. That's pretty standard stuff. In fact, the 50-day SMA is probably the most consistent moving average I've noticed that works well with trends and trend reversals. So if we can get back up over the 50, it's a great chance we're going to be able to stay above and continue to progress higher. All right, so good stuff there in that sense, but again, not great, obviously, because the price is likely going to continue sideways or down from here, but good in the aspect of the fact that we acknowledge and we know that we're in a bearish type of divergence and that we need to expect that to happen. Taking long positions right now, even though it's an extremely low price point, is still very risky. You're almost better off shorting some of your positions, even though those are technically riskier. So again, it depends on your overall risk tolerance, a handful of things, but just something to kind of be mindful of as far as the current climate. Another thing to really understand here as well is that we are stuck under the 20-day simple moving average. Now the 20 will oftentimes align itself with faster moving averages, of course, because it is one, but more importantly, it's aligning itself here with this descending type of trend, which is running concurrent with a pennant pattern, so a bearish pennant pattern. So again, it kind of feels like Bitcoin still wants to come down. It's just kind of the general consensus of what I'm seeing here so far. The day is still young, and we still have a few hours before those minutes are released, but for the moment, I would say that it does look like there's a bit of a rejection there, and the price could and should likely continue to progress lower from here, just based on the overall patterns that we're seeing here forming. All right, now there's no guarantees there, but patterns are more likely to convert than they would if they're not, right? So we gotta acknowledge that. So that being said, take a look at the moving averages here. We are above 50 in the 20. That's a positive sign. Still nothing great or to, nothing really write home about. We want to be back over with a 200 on the 4-hour. That's my personal favorite. And I don't think we're really in a good position right now just yet. We haven't had enough time at this price point to average above that. The reason why is because we had a very significant decrease in value, and it takes a while for things to recover when you have such a strong sell-off. Again, it may not seem like a lot, but that was like somewhere in the range of 30% in like a trading day or two. It was a big gap from 30 down to 20. So it's going to take some time for it to recover. We need to spend more time at this price point, perhaps even lower, to build that volume profile. Okay. So again, just something to kind of think about. Excuse me, sorry. So let's take a look here, of course, at the RSI. So relative strength index kind of telling us that we are trending closer to 50, above 50, under 70. So this does imply that we do have a bullish type of convergence where the price action is continuing to increase, but that should come to an end soon. And what I mean by that is if we take a look at, well, I don't think T sequential is going to give us the numbers we're looking for, but we did hit a 9 here recently, got a reset, and now we're back up to a 2 and or down to a 2. So we're seeing a lot of choppy behavior. That's kind of the bottom line here, is that Bitcoin it's consistently inconsistent lately, which is pretty standard when you have these strong pumps and these strong dumps. And, for the moment, we are still technically kind of range bound in between, 17,800 as a rough estimate, upwards of about 21,500. So 21.5 down all the way to about, just say round number 17,000 or 17.5 is roughly where we're ranging for the moment. So again, this is kind of a large range when you think about it, but it's also quite small compared to what we've seen previously. So as we start to kind of condense and tighten up here, the more likely we are to see a breakout either up or down. Once again, more likely to see a breakdown from here based on the way that this is forming and the way that it started. It derived from a higher price point, therefore we should expect it to continue to drive lower until we match or break some moving averages. And those moving averages are still confirming that we're in a bearish type of divergence. So really there's nothing here positive that I can see that's like a silver lining. We can see, of course, that we are making higher lows, which is important. And technically you could argue that's a higher high there as well. Okay. But again, it didn't break 20,500, so I'm not sold yet. Okay. Because 20,500, I believe, on the daily is an important candlestick close, and we want to pay attention to that. Same with 21,500. All right, let's go ahead and summarize here on the cloud. I apologize for clearing my throat. Got some allergies here recently with all the wonderful fireworks. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the hourly. So here's something to acknowledge, is that we came down, we bounced off of the hourly here. So simply put, with us bouncing off of the cloud, that kind of confirms that we're still in a bullish type of scenario. It doesn't mean that we are in good shape though, and what I'm telling you here is that the conversion line, the conversion line is above the baseline. That's all well and good. We're above the cloud. It's also good. But the thing that concerns me the most is the lagging span. That's probably one of the best, most underrated aspects of the cloud that I feel is important to recognize. It's pretty much telling us if you have a long position, you would have wanted to close it by now. Okay, so again, that just implies that there's a potential shift in momentum and that this continuation to the upside has been stopped out a couple of times, and the likelihood of a reversal is getting higher. Okay, again, it's not like it's going to drop like a rock per se. We might actually even see that based on the minutes here today as well. But on the same accord, we're not in fantastic shape here, but it's better than it should be. Or in other words, it could be a lot worse on the hourly. But again, when you look at the hourly time frame, you got to understand that translates into a 4-hour, and then the 4-hour goes to the daily. So we're going to need to see a lot more consistency on the hourly in order to see that translate into larger time frames. So for me, micro movements are not super important right now. It's more so the macro, and we're actually not seeing a tremendously positive macro performance from Bitcoin right now. If we look at TD sequential, we can see we've got a lot of resets. We hit up to a 7 recently. We came up to a 9 previously. That's another reason why I was able to short here recently, and it definitely worked out very well. Furthermore, too, we also see this over-exhaustive state. We hit a 9 down here, and then it recovered. Okay, so again, we're hitting some pretty... When Bitcoin pushes hard, it'll push hard until it hits that 9th hour. So in that sense, whenever we see this next push, either up or down, pay attention to see if we're 9 hours into that continuation. If so, there's a great chance we'll probably see the price reverse from there. Again, no guarantees, but that's kind of how it's shaping out to be. So just another little pattern that we can maybe kind of try to pay attention to. But once again, overall, in the general sense here, Bitcoin is not in terrible shape, but I don't expect it to recover anytime soon. Still got a lot of road to pave, or whatever the term is, and we got plenty of time here before this is going to recover. Once again, a 30% decrease in 1 or 2, maybe 3 trading days is significant enough to disallow the price action to just want to come right back up. It'd be very unusual if the price just continued to break upwards like that. So something to make sure that you just kind of pay attention to is to wait for confirmation. To me, confirmation is breaking above the 50-day set moving average, and initially, at least the 20. I mean, I think breaking above the 20 would be important, so we can actually retest this level here. But it's going to take another couple weeks before we actually see this trend line actually tested. And in that sense, we need to make sure that we're patient and just careful in our trading between now and then. So position size effectively, use good risk tolerance, work within your own, and make sure that you are not over trading. We're trading maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 trades every couple of days, but the position sizes are smaller and the leverage is larger. So in other words, there's different ways in which you can strategize, but there's, the best strategy I think right now is to minimize your loss and to maximize your gain by just taking smaller position sizes. Even though we're converting, 8 or 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 trades, it's important to make sure that those trades are structured effectively. Okay, so again, take a look at that. And if you want to become a better trader, of course, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. I am obviously losing my voice, so I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you be rested and ready to go for tomorrow. Hope you have a good one. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Hope you learned a lot. If so, comment below. Greatly appreciate the feedback. Have yourself a great rest of your day. See you in the next one. Take care.